Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood Part 1. Written by Anees Jung. Anees Jung is an Indian author, journalist, and columnist for newspapers in India and abroad, whose most known work, Unveiling India, was a chronicle of the lives of women in India, noted especially for the depiction of Muslim women behind the parda. The Lost Spring. As we all know, spring is the season associated with our optimism and hope. It also works as a metaphor for childhood stage of our life. Right from the time we are born until late childhood, every child hopes for new beginnings and a bright future. The phase of childhood is all about innocence, energy, and tremendous inclination towards outdoors activities, along with fun and play. And playtime does not have any limit. It is also a time of getting more skill and knowledge and going to school. Here we take a look at a particularly impressive rendition. Here is the Lost Spring summary. The Lost Spring, written by Anees Jung, talks about the national shame of children being forced to live a life of poverty and exploitation. The main two protagonists of the chapter, Sahib-e-Alam and Mukesh, don't live their childhood as they have to carry the burden of poverty and illiteracy. In their miserable stories of exploitation, the author provides glimpses of fortitude and resilience. Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. Sometimes I find a rupee in garbage. The author here is analyzing the poor condition and tradition that push children to live a life of exploitation. They are also denied education and face hardships quite early in their lives. The writer comes across Sahib, a rag picker whose parents have left Dhaka and their life of poverty to earn a living in Delhi. Just like many other families, even his family lives in Simapuri. They don't own any other identification other than a ration card. These children can't afford to go to school but get excited when they find a coin or even a 10 rupee note while rummaging in the garbage. This is their only way of earning. The writer feels awful to see Sahib, a rag picker whose name also means the ruler of earth. But the poor child has lost his childhood and roams barefooted with his friends. One fine morning, author finds Sahib standing by the fenced gate of a neighborhood club. He was watching the two young men playing tennis. He likes the game but is content to watch it standing behind the fence. Sahib is wearing discarded shirt and shorts. For one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true, but tennis is out of his reach. Right from morning to afternoon, the author comes across him in a tea stall. Sahib becomes sad as he realizes that he is no longer the master of his own destiny, and the loss of identity weighs heavily on his tender shoulders. He is paid rupees 800 and all his meals. Sahib is no longer his master. His face has lost the carefree look. He doesn't seem happy working at the tea stall. This is the end of presentation of part 1. Now we move to Lost Spring part 2. I want to drive a car. The author sheds light on another victim of child labor, Mukesh, who dreams of becoming a motor mechanic. but the child has always worked in the glass making industry. They get exposed to many health hazards, such as losing their eyesight as they work in appalling conditions in dark and dingy cells. They walk down stinking lanes choked with garbage, past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls, wobbly doors, and no windows. They enter a half-built shack. One part of it is thatched with dead grass. A frail young woman is cooking evening meal over a firewood stove. She is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother and already in charge of 3 men: her husband, Mukesh, and her father. The father is a poor bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor and then as a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house and send his 2 sons to school. All he has managed to do is teach them what he knows, the art of making bangles. Mukesh's grandfather has watched her own husband go blind. Grandmother has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. They accept it as destined. They work in dark hutments next to lanes of flames of flickering oil lamps. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. They often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. Savita, a young girl in a drab pink dress, sits alongside an elderly woman. She is soldering pieces of glass. Her hands move mechanically like the tongs of machine. Perhaps she doesn't know the sanctity of bangle she makes. The old woman beside her has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire lifetime. Her husband is an old man with flowing beard. He knows nothing except bangles. He has made a house for the family to live in. He has a roof over his head. The young men echo the lament of their elders. Years of mind-numbing toil have killed all initiative and the ability to dream. They are unwilling to get organized into a cooperative. They fear that they will be howled up by police. 2 distinct worlds are visible. One, families caught in poverty and burdened with stigma of caste in which they are born. The other, a vicious circle of moneylenders, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, and politicians. Together they have imposed the baggage on the child that cannot put it down. The author is cheered when she senses a flash of daring in Mukesh, who wants to be a motor mechanic. This is the end of the second part, Lost Spring.